All right, let's dive straight into this investigation. Welcome to a highly classified case file of our Explainer series, where you and I act as forensic experts to uncover exactly how students are bleeding crucial marks in Cambridge AS and A-level accounting. Seriously, we are treating this exam paper like an active crime scene today. Every dropped mark, every half-finished ledger, and every vague, wandering paragraph, that's a clue. Now you are acting as my top forensics team. In our department, we constantly deal with two types of rookies who completely botch the case. We've got Agent Alex, who gets utterly obsessed with loose footprints and isolated numbers, but totally misses the big picture. And then we have Agent Sam, who loves these vague, overarching theories, but has absolutely zero hard evidence to back them up. So today, we're going to learn how to outsmart both of them, and way more importantly, how to outsmart the examiners. So, look at this. Did you know that the accumulated fund and subscriptions account topic accounts for approximately 15% of your total marks in Paper 2 of the 9706 syllabus? I mean, 15%! This isn't just some minor, negligible detail we can sweep under the rug. A 15% drop is a fatal blow to your final grade. If you don't completely secure this area, you're leaving your entire exam heavily vulnerable to attack.
Here is our case dossier for today. We'll hit the core principles, map out the procedural framework, do an autopsy on common mistakes, and finish up with critical evaluation.
Okay, Phase 1, Core Principles and Theory. Let's get our foundational facts straight.
Right off the bat, the syllabus provides our very first major clue. Now, our rookie Agent Alex tries to solve every single case by just furiously memorizing textbook formats. But the syllabus explicitly warns us here. Success isn't just about rote memorization. It's about proving that you can adapt your knowledge to entirely new, unpredictable scenarios. The examiners are constantly shifting the specific context of these clubs and societies questions. Literally, one year it's a tiny local sports club, and the next it's a massive national charity. So you have to exhibit a connected, conceptual understanding that you can transfer to whatever unfamiliar context they decide to throw at you.
To truly crack these high-tariff questions, your answers literally have to hit all three of these distinct cognitive domains outlined by the examiners. Knowledge and understanding, well, that's your baseline, right? Just knowing the definitions and formats. Analysis is actually processing the specific data they give you, and evaluation is making solid judgments based on that exact data. Look, Agent Alex usually nails the knowledge, but completely fails the evaluation. Meanwhile, Agent Sam jumps straight to evaluation with zero solid analysis. You have to demonstrate competence across all three domains if you want to survive the exam room.
Precision is absolutely vital here. The accumulated fund has very specific terminology and causal relationships. Think of it as the equivalent of a capital account, but for a nonprofit organization. But the whole theoretical architecture rests on integrating this with other areas of your syllabus. Principal examiner reports continually highlight that candidates who reference cross-topic connections, like, for example, how incomplete records relate to finding a missing subscriptions figure, they achieve significantly higher marks. Understanding how it all integrates together, that is your master key to unlocking the top tiers.
Moving to Phase 2, the procedural framework. Let's process the data.
Okay, whenever you tackle a stimulus text, you must follow this exact 6-step chronological procedure to interpret the relationships and draw evidence-based conclusions. First, deconstruct the question to find your command word. Second, extract the relevant data. I want you to imagine passing a literal UV highlighter over the exam paper so all the hidden prepayments and accruals suddenly glow in the dark. Third, select your analytical framework. Fourth, execute with clear notation. Fifth, verify your results. And sixth, present it all with correct terminology. If you skip even one step, you contaminate the entire crime scene.
Now, here's where we hit a massive roadblock, but I'm going to show you how to hack the examiner's marking scheme with the method mark strategy. But hey, quick pause on the case file here. To ensure you never miss our weekly forensic investigation breakthroughs and always outsmart the examiners, you need to subscribe to Ace the Exams at Ace the Exams right now and turn on all your notifications. Okay, let's resume the investigation.
Look at this. Even if your final balance is completely dead on arrival, say you made a silly addition error in the very first minute, meticulously showing your working process can salvage vital method marks and literally save your case. The examiners award marks for the correct procedural steps, not just the final number. If you just write down a final wrong answer with 0 workings, you get a 0. But if you show the formula and the substitution, you bank those method marks every single time.
And the presentation of your findings, it has to adhere to these 4 strict conventions. Think of it as maintaining a perfectly clean chain of evidence. You need proper headings, correct terminology. For example, never ever write net profit for a club. It's a surplus.
You need appropriate formats and crystal clear annotation. Practical application develops professional skills, and I promise you, examiners will instantly dock points if your ledger looks like it was scribbled by an amateur instead of a forensic accountant.
On to Phase 3, the autopsy of exam mistakes.
We've cracked open the principal examiner reports, and according to their direct warnings, these are the 3 absolute most common ways students hemorrhage marks. Trap 1, using the wrong approach for the specific context of the club. Trap 2, forgetting basic format checks, like leaving off your dates or the balance brought down figures. And Trap 3, generic, non-specific answers. This is Agent Sam's fatal flaw right here. Writing a vague, copy-pasted theory answer that could honestly apply to a retail shoe business rather than addressing the highly specific sports society detailed in the source material.
I want you to ask yourself honestly right now, when the clock is ticking down and the pressure is really mounting in that exam hall, which of these 3 traps are you most susceptible to? Let's do a live forensic workshop right now. Imagine a 60-second visual timer ticking down on your desk. You have exactly 1 minute to locate the critical trend variable, say a sudden massive drop in club membership, and write your conclusion. Under that kind of pressure, do you panic and forget your format? Do you just resort to a generic answer? Identify your weak spot right now so you can actively guard against it.
To build a shield against these traps, you've got to try this memory hack. Create a custom acronym to instantly recall the specific factors affecting these accounts. You need a fast, reliable retrieval system for things like subscriptions in arrears, subscriptions in advance, life memberships, and donations. When that exam adrenaline hits your system, you don't have time to leisurely browse through your mental filing cabinet. You need an automated, tactical recall system.
Let's elevate this. Phase 4, critical analysis and evaluation. This is where the highest tariff marks live. Evaluating evidence quality requires you to actively identify the limitations and assumptions baked into the stimulus text and gauge their effect on the final conclusions. For instance, are we just blindly assuming that all members in arrears are eventually going to pay up? Or what is the limitation of a club relying entirely on one single one-off donation to survive the year? You have to highlight these alternative interpretations of the data to prove to the examiner that you've mastered the higher-order assessment objectives.
Look at the massive difference here between simply listing facts and actually evaluating alternatives to make a justified recommendation. Let's cross-examine a flawed student essay snippet. Agent Sam writes, "The club should increase the subscription fee to get more cash." Okay, that is basic description. You get almost nothing for that. Let's do a full forensic reconstruction using the Peel template. Point, evidence, evaluation, link. Ready? The club should increase fees by 10%, that's your point, supported by the $500 deficit in the income and expenditure account, there's your hard evidence. However, this assumes demand is inelastic. If members leave, total revenue could actually fall. Boom, evaluation. Therefore, a phased increase is the safer recommendation, and that brings us to the link. That right there is your newly engineered full mark paragraph.
When you're doing comparative analysis, stick to these 3 steps. First, identify both similarities and differences between the 2 approaches or financial years. Second, use comparative connectives, words like conversely, whereas, or in contrast. Third, support every single claim with extracted evidence. The real trick here is using those comparative connectives to physically tie your evidence directly to your conclusions.
All right, let's step back from the microscope. Phase 5, closing the case. Here is your overarching forensic exam protection checklist to ace this 15% chunk. Integrate and connect your concepts across the syllabus. Flawlessly execute that 6-step procedural framework. Aggressively bank those method marks by literally always showing you're working. And keep your context laser-focused to avoid generic, unmarkable answers. This right here is your absolute shield against the examiner's red pen.
But look, the only way to truly master this technical methodology is to continuously, relentlessly interrogate past paper questions until the entire process becomes totally automatic. You need to train your data extraction skills so intensely that when you see a block of text, your brain instantly acts like that UV highlighter, isolating the exact variables, accruals, and prepayments you need to balance out that subscriptions account.
Ultimately, the examiners are looking to see you operate as a complete, seasoned professional, mastering solid foundational knowledge, executing incredibly precise analysis, and delivering confident, evidence-based evaluation. They do not want Agent Alex's disconnected facts, and they definitely don't want Agent Sam's baseless theories. They want the lead detective.
So before you walk into your next exam, I need you to ask yourself, what is the single most dangerous assumption hiding in your current study methodology right now that an examiner could brutally penalize? Are you assuming you'll just figure out the format on the day? Do not leave your marks to chance. To lock down your strategy, I command you to subscribe to Ace the Exams at Ace the Exams, enable all your notifications, and drop a comment down below with your current level and your target grade. Let's get to work. Case closed.